Happy Wednesday, everyone. How are we doing? Are we doing good? Good to see you all. And oh my goodness, Paul Bison has just gifted 10 memberships to kick off the show with. Thank you very, very much. So let's give a shout out to all those that were lucky. Welcome, Jordan. You've become a member. Sarah, welcome. You've become a member. Badger, you've become a member. Nicole, you've become a member. Rubber Fingers, you've become a member. Dr. Dance, you've become a member. Lab Hayose, if I got that right, has become a member. Amber, you have become a member. Mika, you've become a member. Zombie, you've become a member. You have all become members. Thank you to what an incredibly kind donation to kick off the show with. Paul, thank you, good sir. I'll put your name back up again. Many great supporters of the channel. Paul has always surprised me by quite a lot with these massive membership gifts. So thank you, good sir. I hope you're all doing good and that you can hear me well. As you can tell, this week I am not at home. I am in a hotel. I am actually at a work offsite. Now, some of you may have deja vu because I think it was in July of last year. I was at a work offsite, which is Wednesday to Friday, and I left the dinner table as the dessert came out. I sort of ate as much as I could, and then I ran, did the show, and then went back out to continue drinking with my colleagues. Well, this time for dinner, we've got our main meal tomorrow night, but tonight was a buffet, so I was able actually to get all my food out the way. I say out the way. I got to enjoy it, spend quality time with colleagues, and then slowly walk to the hotel room with this to do this live show from my laptop. So my setup isn't as advanced as it normally is, but hopefully, you remember. But hopefully you can hear me fine. And I do have the basic setup. A lot of my colleagues can't believe that I'm actually doing this. They're like, you're going off now to do this? But I was like, yeah, I'm committed. I'm committed because there's a lot of momentum with this channel. I'm really enjoying it. I appreciate all the support that you've been giving me. And yeah, I was just really, really keen to do this. I've been doing a lot of reflecting the past week about this show, how to tighten things up. And I have a lot of ideas. But to be honest, I'm not going to implement them until next week. And there was actually one topic I wanted to do on this show, but I wanted to do it when I had my full setup, which is about AI again. But this time it's about an app called Midjourney. Now, for those that don't know, Midjourney is an app where you can basically type any prompt you want and it will create an image, an excellent image of what you've asked it for. And so I want to do a quiz next week where I've already started doing it. I'm going to have like maybe 10 or 20 images of famous actors looking like computer game characters or cartoon characters. And you've got to guess who is the character and who is the actor. And I think that could be really, really good. And yes, before we get to that, let me just do a bit of housekeeping. Welcome, everyone. This is Myles Dyer Live. My name is Myles Dyer, and I host this show this time every Wednesday, even when I'm not at home, where we talk about all sorts. Sometimes we have fun with quizzes, talking about popular culture, maybe it's movies. And then other times we talk about more serious things like we are today. We're going to talk about, the purpose of life, and we'll get to that a bit later. But ultimately, the reason this works well is because of those that are in the chat. There are wonderful people that support this channel, and for that, I'm incredibly grateful. And I know together we're going to have a wonderful time together. So if you're new to this, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, be notified, and just give it a try. And if this topic isn't really for you this week, maybe next week. But also, every Friday night on PSVR Without Parole, I host with Brian Poole, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, PlayStation virtual reality shows in the world. And today marks 21 days until PlayStation VR 2 comes out. That's right, we are now in the month of PlayStation VR 2. We're also in the month of my 36th birthday, which is a couple of weeks away, which is going to be fun. And then on Saturdays, I also do gaming live streams, getting ready for the PSVR 2 stuff. But in the meantime, I'll play some flat screen games. This weekend, I'm either going to be playing Fortnite or Stray, which is an awesome cyberpunk game where you play as a cat. And I feel like that's the one we should play because that'd be a good one to play from the beginning. What day is your birthday? My birthday is the 17th of February, which I believe is a Friday. And thank you. I appreciate that. What are we talking about? Oh my God, some of the stuff that's been said. Where's the free hotel stuff? Yeah, I've got a few bottles of small things, and there's a nice kettle here that I might take with me, and some towels that I want. But yeah, sorry, going back to this, it's a new member globe. So yes, Brian Paul helped me edit it. You may have noticed that when you become a member, you get a globe next to your name, and initially you get planet Earth in its normal colours. Then it goes bronze, but then it goes bronze for 2 phases, then silver, then gold, then other things. I've changed one of the bronze ones to an outline of the globe. So when you first become a member, if you're a member for just a month, it's just an outline sketch of a globe. I haven't actually seen it in the chat. Does it look good? Hope you like it. How comfy are the bathrobes? I haven't found a bathrobe yet. I might have a look for one in a moment. I don't think there was one there. But yeah, same birthday as your boss. I hope you have a nice boss. And same birthday as mums and brothers, right? And the new Ant-Man movie is out on that day as well. Right. So there's a new membership badge. The other thing that we mentioned last week is if you do become a member, you don't only get the badge next to your name, but you unlock some custom emojis. And as I said, I was going to be getting some commissions that weren't going to be available for another couple of days. And technically they still aren't. But I've had them come through. Do you want to see them? These are like rough versions, so you're not going to see like the full designs. Some of them might come as a surprise. But here are the next 5 emojis that members are going to get. Are you ready? And I'm glad you like the new globe. Thank you very much, Mojo. Here we go. Here they are. So, I mean, the left one blew my mind how good that is. So the one on the left is my famous skull ring that everyone always talks about when I meet them and things like that. I've had it for like over a decade. It's a big part of my personality. I was wondering if it should be a head-on one, but the side view kind of looks cool. So yeah, the skull ring. I don't know what context you'll be using that in, but yeah, that is one of them. The PSVR 2. Me using the controllers, I think, is amazing. I'm surprised how good it looks, and yeah, that's turned out way better than I thought. So all in time for PSVR 2. It looks great. Thirdly, this was a difficult one because I think maybe it's a bit too clustered. Yeah, to say that we're dead. Yeah, when we're talking about dead stuff, I don't know. It's a cool one to have. I'm sure the thing is about some of these emotes is sometimes you just got to put them out there and then people will use them in whatever way they feel. Then we have the drum kit, which was obviously for when a certain someone tells a particular joke. And I was thinking about having a babunch like written, but they said it would be too small for the emote. So I think this works. The heart, something to symbolise like health, well-being and mindfulness. I thought having the teal colour in there would be really, really great. I've actually asked them just to update this so it like glows a bit, so it just looks at it a bit more, it sticks out a bit more. And then finally the queue. So when we do Q&As, members can actually use that queue, and it means that I'll prioritise your question over non-members. Yeah, these are the 5 next emojis coming to the channel for members. What do you think? Do you like them? I like them. So yeah, that is that. Yeah, all about the teal. And what's up, Two Wise Miles? Yeah, I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well. I'm a bit tipsy. I've had a good meal and some good wine. And I'm feeling good, and I'm really excited for today's conversation. So, yeah. So, listen, today actually was inspired by episode 3 of the TV show of The Last of Us. And before anyone worries, I'm not going to be talking about the episode specifically. No spoilers, nothing. If you haven't had a chance to watch the show yet, I highly recommend it. It's growing its audience week on week as word of mouth is getting out there. It's a beautiful show. and we're on episode. We've just had episode 3. I've cried in 2 of the 3 so far. I've just been blown away by it. It's been amazing, 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 amazing. But there was a theme that has been running throughout the show, but it was definitely hinted at a lot stronger in this episode. And again, without going into specifics, and it was the idea of purpose. About, what is life about? What is it to have purpose? And because I was away from home, I'm going to be in this hotel. I thought, I want a topic where we can just kind of have a chat. And therefore, I thought, okay, let's talk about purpose, life's purpose. One of the topics I've covered a lot on my videos over the years, it was one of the first videos I ever did, was the idea that, what is, I did a video on what is the meaning of life. It's a common theme I talk about. It's a thing a lot of us think about. And the meaning of life is going to be a part of this conversation today, but I also just wanted to talk about the idea of purpose. But someone actually mentioned right at the start about really liking the thumbnail. It was Hannah, who really loves the thumbnail of this episode. And for those that haven't seen it yet, it looks like this. This thumbnail was actually I created using an AI bot. And I'm going to be talking about this AI on next week's show. It is absolutely phenomenal, and the stuff I've been able to design on it is absolutely incredible. I mean, to be honest, I could probably tease you with like one image now, or maybe I could do a couple. Let's have a look here. Yeah, let's do. We'll put it this way. Yeah, I'm gonna do these 3 photos if it lets me send it to my laptop, which at the moment it's not. AirDrop's not coming up. Existential crisis potentially. There's room for some existential crisis, that's for sure. Purpose. It's that little thing that lights a fire under your ass. Yeah, it can come in waves, can't it? In terms of like, oh, actually, yeah, maybe this is the direction I want to take. Okay, it's not letting me send it to myself. That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, really, really excited for next week's show. So definitely don't miss it. And a lot of stuff is just coming up. It's going to be a really action-packed month, and I'm just really grateful for everyone tuning in. So, listen, purpose. I've got a lot to say about this, so I might just talk through it. But to start with a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, "The purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience." So, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And that isn't always going to answer the aspect of purpose, but I think it's a good starting point of like, you often hear about this idea of, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Or is it shoot for the stars, you might hit the moon? I don't know, I've already butchered that. But it's this idea that we often get in our own way. And I think there are 2 aspects to purpose. There is the purpose of like the ambition. What is it that we want? And then it's the purpose of like the sense in the moment. Where are we currently? And do I feel that I've hit my purpose? And I'm conflicted between the 2, because on the one hand, I can think of certain things that would be my purpose, and I think I haven't achieved them yet. And as I approach the age of 36, I'm starting to not worry, but see it in an increasingly deepened perspective. But then there are other things of like ambitions that can go into the future, and certain aspects, I feel that I've definitely hit already. So GameCat Photonut says, there must be failure in order to grow. And it's an excellent point, because I often think about, if you think about like, let's think of a classic arcade game or a classic computer game like Super Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog, yeah? You're on a level, so you have some obstacles, you have some challenges, and you go through it. But let's say you die. You go back to the beginning of the level. But it's not an exact restart, is it? Because this time you're going through the level. Okay, it was exactly the same. but you have pre-existing knowledge. Now, in real life, if you die, that's it. But I have always said on my social media, the idea that, and it's a mantra I have, which is every day, or it's another day, another chance to make a difference in your life, the lives of others, and the world as a whole. And that is the case. If you're having a bad day and you're really stressed at the end, sometimes the best thing you can do is go to bed, because when you wake up, you'll just get on and not really think about the day before for a while. And it's true. Every day is like that level in a computer game. You're not dying, but you're kind of starting a new day. And even if you had a really terrible day, maybe things even went backwards in your life, you're going into a new day with more knowledge and learnings than you did from before. And that can really help aid in achieving a purpose, which, again, you might not have manifested in your mind. It might just be a feeling of like, do I feel that I'm living a purposeful life? It's not always something that you can plan ahead. My purpose is living and experiencing. I'm currently on a pretty good streak. That's awesome, Mika. That's really, really good. Tomorrow is another day to screw up. And you might do. But screwing up isn't in a vacuum. It does come with things that follow. And I love this, Nick. Congratulations on those that try and fail. Some never try. So, here are some key takeaways, right? It's all about understanding your values, your passions, and your strengths. These are three things that can help you identify your purpose, your values, your passions, and your strengths. And your purpose can change throughout your life. And if it does, that's okay. Because different days, different years, there are different circumstances, there are different opportunities. Purpose isn't something that has to be set in stone. And therefore, it's never too late to discover or rediscover your purpose. And why is it important? Because living a purposeful life can bring you a real sense of fulfillment and happiness. Because we're all in this world, we're all trying to work it out. And that sense of purpose can just kind of give you a more grounded sense of where you are in the world at the moment. And it was in part why I chose the thumbnail that I did. I'm always like top of a mountain looking at the world. It's just, for me, it's epic and it's awesome. Half the battle, Hannah says, is believing that you have something to offer the world as an individual. And that is an important point, because on the one hand, it's like this dichotomy when we talk about like, are we alone in the universe? And I think it was Brian Cox who said, actually it might have been Carl Sagan, but it was once said that either we're alone in the universe or we're not. Either way, the answer is terrifying. And it's the fact that on the one hand, if we're not alone, it's kind of freaky that there are other people out there. But if we are, that kind of grounds us in a sense of responsibility that we only have this one life. We only have this one planet. And any time, and this is an empowering thought I've always had about the world, any time an idea has come to fruition in this world, it always started with the utterance of a single person. Now, they might have not have uttered the full idea, but someone had uttered something. They'd externalized something that was inside them, a thought, and then it got acted upon. Now, it might have been a multiple set of people that together brought their ideas and created something, but the point was, it did start from individuals. Individuals can change the world. Karina says it's good to ask yourself a lot of whys, and there's an excellent exercise with this. Why do I do this? Why is this important to me? You can go pretty deep in this way to determine what really drives you, that purpose. And that's excellent. And the exercise that you can do with that is, and you can do it in interviews as well, is you can ask someone like, you could say to me, Myles, why do you do this live show? And I go, I do this live show because I enjoy it and I love connecting with people. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but for the case of this example. And then you go, but why? Well, people are my life, and I'm a reasonably okay communicator, and it's a hobby. Why? And you just keep going deeper and deeper. And so asking yourself the why can really tap into things that you didn't really know about yourself, or you didn't at least acknowledge in an overt sense. And that can be a great option of discovery. Melanie says, I feel that the purpose is to experience life and gain wisdom to pass to future generations, making the world better one little mind at a time. One of my all-time favourite quotes was a Greek, I think it was a Greek proverb, but it was, a society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. And it was actually a quote that I worked into one of my band's lyrics. And it's the idea of creating legacy. Now, I'm going to give you, honestly, my opinion on what the meaning of life is to me. I think it's also the meaning of life to people, but it's never about imposing on others, this is what your meaning should be. But you can reflect on this. For me, and I think it's quite open-ended, which is why I think it does apply to everyone. To me, the meaning of life is to create legacy. It's to create something that outlives you. That could be starting a family. It could be creating a foundation, people that open schools, something that's going to be there long after you. It could be creating a live show or a video that's going to be online for digital eternity, hopefully. It could be making someone smile and knowing that you've had a knock-on effect that adds positivity in the world. For me, the meaning of life is to create legacy, is to create something that outlives you. Some people might disagree with that, but I find that that's a framework that can apply to a lot of different things in life. Mojo says, I have zero confidence in myself. I am more content supporting, encouraging and helping others because I don't feel I am worth of any of that. Which is an interesting thing, because I've learned, especially in compassion-focused therapy, that we often treat ourselves much harsher than we do other people. If a friend comes up to you and is having a tough time, you are probably going to be very compassionate and supportive. But when you have those same issues, you go, oh, I'm being stupid, I'm wasting people's time. But you would never say that to yourself if you were sat next to you. And so I would definitely say that a shame that you say you have zero confidence, although I understand that some of us go through those moments. But to be someone who supports and encourages and helps others takes confidence. And that's an amazing thing to do. And I hope that you afford yourself that, Mojo, at some point. Nick says, legacy, mine would be to be remembered after I die. Serial Killer says, when I was younger, I thought it would be a career. But as paths change, it ended up only being a way to get by, but not as important. And that's interesting. And I think we live in a world now where career is kind of like, you can have a career, but we live in a world now where things are moving so fast that you don't really stick in one place at one time. And also, a career is defined, by industry, but you're on your own career, you're on your own path, your own decision, and your life is a series of events, and you can draw a line through them. That is a pattern, and I would define that pattern as a career that you've defined by yourself. This is all very deep and excellent for listening to. I thought this might be a bit more of a podcast discussion one, and this is nice, so maybe I should do more of these more often. Karina says, like to reflect on my past to identify the moments when at my happiest. In my case, it was always to do when I had loved ones around me. Purpose is something to do with connecting to others. And I like that very much. Connection. What if we're surrounded by beings that are out phase with our dimension? Spooky. I know, I've always thought about that, actually. Sorry, I'm playing catch up at the moment. It's perhaps why like having an inner toddler asking us why. Listen to our inner selves asking why. Yeah, absolutely. It was very helpful for me to question a lot of little things in my life, Mika says. What do I do because I find it important, and what do I only do because I'm supposed to? The cybersecurity company I work for, CyberSafe, I'm at their offsite here at the moment for the next few days. They often say, the what is important, but not as important as the why. The what is, this is the product, this is the platform, this is our mission, but it's grounded in a sense of why. Why are we doing this? We're doing this to help society, and to be more specific with our company, our CEO has said we are doing this because we want to be a company that deserves to exist, and we want to fundamentally transform the way in which society deals with the human aspects of cyber risk. And I love that, thinking about the why. What we're doing, okay, that's fine. But the why we're doing it, that's empowering. That's what makes us engaged, and it's why I love being at events like this today. Melanie recalling my band song, A Complex Slate, with the lyric, I'm glad you remembered it, plant the seed for the tree you'll never get to see. We can all be saved, was from A Complex Slate. Just going through this. I See the Light says, my purpose at the moment is to help my children avoid the mistakes I made. But on occasion, I think it's better for them to learn by making mistakes themselves. It depends on the situation. Absolutely. And it is, it can be both. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to, you've not made all the mistakes in the world. And that's an important aspect of empathy. Empathy means we don't all have to go through risking our lives to know that going somewhere is dangerous, or going through a certain thing you can learn through others. If you see someone touch, going with a cliche here, if someone touches a hot stove and you see someone in pain, it's a good teachable moment. Callie Timecat says, I've often pushed back and rejected the things I'm supposed to do, but some of them are necessary. I suppose sometimes I need to ask, why not to? And that's an important point. It's not about being absolute in I should say yes to everything or be positive to everything, but being mindful and reflective of it can be very, very important. I just want to welcome everyone that's just tuned in, by the way. Today we are talking about what is your life's purpose. This is a much more thoughtful and reflective episode to recent ones, but hopefully you enjoy this, and do hit the like button if you haven't already. It's wonderful to have you here. Paul says, is what we leave behind as important as how we've lived? And that's a good point, because about legacy isn't about, for me, it's a balancing act. This is just my answer. It is a balancing act, because creating legacy, I'm not saying that the value is just in terms of what you leave behind, but the process of creating legacy. So if it is having family, bringing up children, spending time with them is amazing. If it is making videos, you enjoy making them in the time, and you get fulfillment knowing that it's not just entertaining or helping people in the moment, but it might help people or entertain people later down the line. Awesome Tatum says, I love that explanation, creating legacy. I would also add that you do that, but I think a big part of that is to evolve into your highest self, however you find those paths, which I absolutely love. And it reminds me a lot of compassion focused therapy and the Compassionate Mind by Professor Paul Gilbert, who says the key to compassion is, I'm going to say twofold. There's probably points I'm missing here. But number one, it's about acknowledging that we live in a world full of pain and misery and suffering, and that we are strong individuals to be standing in this moment, living this life. And so it's about being compassionate with ourselves and to other people to alleviate suffering. But the other aspect of it is about being useful. And the example he gives is if you see someone, let's say, who is drowning in a swimming pool, and on the one hand you have compassion with them, that's the first part. You see them drowning, you worry for them, you think, oh my god, that person needs help. Now let's say you jump in after them, but you don't have that second component. You don't know how to swim either. You're now drowning with them, and you've actually not improved the situation. You might be like, I can empathise with you, I'm drowning as well. Whereas learning to swim is a great skill that if you are in a situation like that, you'd be able to help someone. And I really like that idea that it's about self-improvement, understanding that we are up against the odds in this world, and that therefore we should take the opportunities to do what we can. And Mojo mentioned earlier about, maybe not having too much self-belief, and that's where the self-compassion component's important, but spending your time to lift up others, which is fantastic and it's great, but do make sure you spend the time to give yourself some love and lift up yourselves. Nick was just recommending read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'll definitely keep that noted. Callie once says, yes, more of these episodes. Absolutely. Chris says, I guess the goal is being financially stable, and if I can be remembered, great, but not really a goal anymore. Okay, and that's absolutely fine. The truth is, we're not going to know if we're remembered after we're gone. But again, if it adds to the fulfillment in the process in the moment, then that's great. Melanie says, my life goals right now are to always provide people with an ear. Someone who will listen to them and not try to change them. Just an ear. Everyone needs one, you know? That's great. That's great. Just going down, playing catch up. Flame is always a flame. Doesn't change. Do you want to be a father, Myles, someday? It's a difficult one. Like, yeah, I've always wanted to have children at some point, but for me, there's like stages that come before that. Like, I want to be in a really strong relationship first. I want to have a strong home and financial situation at that time, and then be in a situation to have family. So yeah, it's like I do, but it's like that's not the next step. There are things that have to come before it. The old folks have great stories to tell during the war and such. What stories do our generation have to tell? Well, I think we will have great stories to tell, but we're just not at that point yet. So, yeah. Should swimming be mandatory? Well, it's interesting you say that, because I've always felt that first aid should be taught in schools, so that we know what to do when we see people in those moments. Zinc says, I have not actually challenged myself with this question before. I have hourly, daily, yearly goals, but not one guiding question. And that's interesting. And it's not always about having a guiding question, but what you might find is by looking at those goals, you might see a pattern. That's why I'm saying sometimes a purpose isn't something that you sort of articulate and then you drive for. But purpose can be a sense of like, it could be like, I think purpose in some ways is like a grounded sense. Like right now, I feel my purpose is this. Like right now, I feel like this is what I'm doing. Sometimes it can just be an articulation of your current reality. Here are some techniques for finding your purpose that I've got written down, okay? And some of this has been touched upon already, which is great. So the first thing is to reflect on your past experiences, accomplishments, and challenges. You know, we talked about what can you learn from that. You can learn from the good, you can learn from the bad, in my case. You can learn from past experience. But then looking forward, try new things and experiment to see what you enjoy and what you're good at, because sometimes it comes as a surprise. There are things that I did later in life that kind of made sense to me, that I knew I'd always had an interest with, but I didn't know how much, like teaching or doing live streams of games, stuff like that. And you can also ask for feedback from friends, family, and mentors. You know, find out what their purpose is, because by talking about it, you might go, actually, I relate to that. Yeah, I really relate to that. And as was just mentioned in the chat, you know, journal your thoughts and ideas to gain clarity. Like we always often talk in the abstract, but by writing things down, it can give us a real sense of focus that can be helpful. But as has been discussed in the chat, there are common roadblocks, but there are ways to overcome them. So, you know, there could be the fear of failure or success. That's something that many of us feel from time to time. And that can lead to a sense of self-doubt and negative self-talk. Can also lead to a lack of direction and guidance. Sometimes we just feel lost in life, and that is okay. Sometimes I'm going to come up with a really weird metaphor here that just came to mind, but it's the idea of, and I think it's because I played a computer game like this recently. If you can imagine like a space station, and there's like two parts to it, but you have to go through space first. So you're leaving one of the space stations and you're sort of gliding to the other. In that middle bit, you're kind of just like floating along. You know, there's nothing to grab onto, nothing to push up against. You're just going with the momentum. There's I guess you are going in a direction, but there's not much you can do about it in certain moments. It's just like sometimes you just have to wait for the time to pass until you get to that next point. But also, as may have been illustrated by that point just now, is sometimes we overthink things, and therefore there's a sense of analysis paralysis. I mean, often I've been dealt with in life, the paralysis of choice, thinking about all these things, and you can be overwhelmed. And something we talked about today at CyberSafe, our CEO, Oz Alashe, a brilliant, brilliant man who I would love to have on the show sometime, but obviously he's a very, very busy man. He often talks about the idea that every day you may have 100 things that you could do, but 20 of those things you have to do. They're really, really important. But out of those 20 things, you can only do 5. What 5 are those going to be? And that's something you have to work out, because 20 you have to do, but you can only do 5. And that allows you to sort of prioritize, because often we get overworked with things like that. But there are ways to overcome these roadblocks when it comes to getting a sense of purpose. One of them is to embrace the unknown and have a growth mindset. And just to say, all of these are easier said than done. Yeah, it's not always easy. Secondly, and this is something I advocate a lot for, I advocate it to myself as well. It's something I'm working on. I'm not an expert. I'm very knowledgeable about it, but in terms of my own practice, it's a challenge I go through. Practice self-care and positive self-talk. Positive self-talk, like having affirmations, starting your day with it. Seek support and guidance from trusted sources. We've talked already about, mentors and things like that. And then take action and make progress, no matter how small it is. We watched a video earlier today about the idea of the best thing you can do at the start of your day is make your bed, because it's something that you can achieve very easily, and it means your day has already started with a success. And it's the first small thing that everything else follows from. And then at the end of the day, let's say it goes horrible, you come back and you know what? You have a made bed that you made. And that's actually a really positive thing. So yeah, before I go to comments, again, I just wanted to... actually, I'll go to some comments now, because there's been a lot that's been put in the chat. And I absolutely love this. Just having a look here. Love all these book suggestions. So 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is awesome. I read it in the early noughties, 20 years ago. Wow, it's been like that, huh? Just having a look here. Sorry, I'm just going through all these. A difficult journey can be the most interesting. Absolutely. I mean, look, feeling good about something is only possible because there are things that make us feel bad. Like, the reason we feel emotions is you have something comparable to. If we always felt at this level of happy, you'd be numb to it, because it was like, just it all feels the same. Like, the reason you know what one emotion feels like is because it's comparable to another state of mind. Can Oz speak to my boss, please? I'll see what I can do. I honestly, I really want to get Oz on this show one evening, or get him onto a quest for global empathy, because just absolutely amazing man, and yeah, it would be really, really, really great. I never dwell on the past, Mark says. I look to the future and keep on putting one foot in front of the other. And dwelling, it's like, it's even not dwelling on the future as well. And this comes back to compassion focused therapy, about a sense of presence and how important it is, because it's good to look in the past. It's good to reflect and take lessons from that and invest it into the present. And it's good to look ahead and make plans. But sometimes it can be debilitating, because sometimes we just live in the past. Just constant regret, or feelings of shame or concern or worry. And sometimes we spend too much time in the future worrying about things that haven't happened, because it's in the future. Whereas in the present, this is where we are. This is where we spend our lives, in the present. And so that's where it's a good time for being present. Mark says, I brought a pair of tortoiseshell shoes today. I decided to wear them straight away. It took me 4 hours to leave the shop. Nice. Um, Start with Why by Simon Sinek. Read it, guys. Your homework. Simon Sinek's really good. I'm very conflicted about him. Like, there is a lot of good stuff, but other stuff I'm like, yeah, not sure. And you don't have to agree with people all the time. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Very busy man. But me and him get on really really well. So yeah, I'll see what I can do. Um, and good to see you here, Hannah. Welcome, 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 welcome. I plan a lot, and maybe like one of 5 plans ever becomes a reality, and that's fine. That's fine, because you know what? If you have 5 plans and you do one, you've done more than you did when you made the plans in the first place. Because when you made the plans in the first place, you had 0. That is progress. Add is it Ikigai? Probably mispronounced that. Forgive me. The Japanese secret to a long and happy life too. I like that. To your reading list. But yeah, I'm worried I'm going to become a crazy cat lady. Stay in the present, Karina. Stay in the present with your cats. Yeah. So yeah. So look, to wrap this up, everybody. Your life's purpose, and I think this is such an important point. Your life's purpose is unique to you and shouldn't be compared to others. Does that mean you can't look to others and get inspiration and have discussions about it? That's what we're doing today. Absolutely fine. You are going to make some kind of comparisons. But your purpose is for you. It's your context. It's your life. It's your set of circumstances. It's your chemistry and biology and mindset, spirituality. It's all of those things. It's for you. And so you can look to others, but what is right for you is for you. And living a purposeful life takes effort and requires consistent reflection and self-awareness. And something I'm trying to get better at, and my manager, Joe Giddens, another brilliant person that I want to get on at some point. He's a great writer and someone who's really great when it comes to messaging. He actually sent me the other day this wheel, which is actually very similar to what I showed you with a diary I got this year, where it breaks down. It has like it's a wheel where there's like 10 blocks that you can shade for each portion, and one of them's for like family, relationship, finances, health. They're all different categories, and so what you do is you'd rate how good you are at each of them. And what I loved with his explanation was he was saying that you've got to decide what you're going to invest in your life. And he says, and by the way, he doesn't play games because he says he'd get addictive, but he talked about an RPG. He says it's like when you create a character in an RPG, you have so many skill points at the beginning. You can't make strength, defense, vitality. You can't make all of it 10. You got to actually divvy out the points and decide what you want to work on. And he says that's the same with that chart. You got to decide actually where do I want to invest my time at the moment and make it work. And I thought that was just a really wonderful way of explaining it. Next up, the journey of finding purpose is ongoing. It's ongoing. It's ongoing, and it's filled with challenges and triumphs. And it will evolve. It will change. And that doesn't mean that what you felt before was wrong or was a failure or a waste of time, because we've all explained it's about being in the present. And then most importantly, embrace the process and enjoy the ride, because that's what life is. It's just a ride, as Bill Hicks used to say. And if you've never seen that, watch it on YouTube after this live show. I think it's called It's Just a Ride by Bill Hicks. It's a wonderful, wonderful stand-up routine. One of his most famous pieces that's really, really great. So, look, guys, today there's going to be no word game just because of the setup, I'm afraid. I'm sure we'd absolutely smash it. And also, this is probably going to be a bit of a shorter show because of the nature of this. And I've got colleagues to spend time with. But I did want to do this show, and I kind of like this as being compact. But I just want to end with a question, and I'm interested to hear all your thoughts as we come to the end of it. And before I do that, actually, I'll just sort of open up a bit about me, because I mentioned that I feel legacy is the purpose, and for me, purpose comes in many forms. For me, it's always been about enriching the lives of others, because seeing other people succeed just fills me with so much joy. Although I'm someone who can present on camera and do stuff in my work, although I present on camera, I love being behind the camera and directing people and giving them the confidence. I just love it. And in my free time, I give marketing advice to friends and people I see to help them grow their audiences and stuff, because I love seeing enthusiastic people that need guidance and knowing that with just a bit of help, I can see them just skyrocket. That just gives me joy. So that's a part of the purpose. The other purpose is to be a good citizen of the world. A third purpose would be to constantly strive for excellence and self-improvement. I've always talked about the idea that no one's perfect. Some people are more flawed than others. I've definitely had a very flawed background. I had a very troublesome decade in my 20s, where I had a very messed up experience that really messed me up. I had to get a lot of help for it, and during that process I had toxic behaviors and things like that I look back with huge regret and shame. But for me, I've always been a believer that the best kind of apology is change behavior, and so I've done what I can to get help, sort things out, improve my life, and I'm in such a better place now. And whenever I meet my parents, for example, put up with such a little shit when I was a kid, and I'm so grateful they didn't give up on me. And I feel embarrassed for how I was as a kid. And that's just the nature of, like, we talk about reflecting in the past. We were different people then. We change our mindset, we learn, and it's because of the compassion of others and opportunities that I've been able to turn my life around in certain ways. But then a final bit I'd say about purpose, and this is the bit that I don't think I'm at yet, is, I want to find my purpose in the sense of a partner. I do. I want to fall in love. I want to be there with someone who I feel completely comfortable with, who likes me for me, and there's a mutual sense of respect and a willingness to sort of build a life together. I've not found that, and it might happen next year, it might happen this year, it might happen in 10 years. I have this sort of weird middle ground where I worry, will I ever find it? But another part of me is like, it will happen when the time is right. But I also am someone who's like, the universe doesn't owe me anything. I could live a very lonely life. That might happen. But that is an aspect of purpose that I still strive for, and I do think about a lot. So yeah, that is some of my reflections in terms of purpose and how I feel in life. So I'm going to read some of your comments now, but while I'm reading the ones that have come before, I'd love to just end this show with a closing question. And for me, and you don't have to share this if you don't want to, if you'd like, write it down on a piece of paper, keep it to yourself, it's for you. But I'd like to know, like, what steps will you take today to bring you closer to your purpose in life? What steps will you take today to bring yourself closer to your purpose? Now, you might have some short answers and then keep some to yourself. You might want to put it all out there, or you might want to keep it all to yourself. But I would love to hear anyone that would like to share that. Thank you, Callie. Very, very kind. Mojo says, you all in the chat and Myles all helped to remind me that I'm worth something, so a massive thank you. And sometimes we need those reminders, and that's good. Yeah, Bill Hicks is incredible. Your 20s were troublesome too. There are quite a few of us who were glad to have got through it. Yeah, definitely. Part 2, meaning of life with partner. Okay. Meek says, for people who were close to voluntarily saying goodbye to this world, just staying another day and making the best of it can be a valuable purpose. It's very true. It is quite normal. I think empathy is a muscle that you have to develop and things like that. I've always wondered what it'd be like to have parents that give a fuck, and that's tough. And it goes back to what I said about, like, you know, we're given a hand when we're born. We all have different experiences. We all have different contexts, and that can be huge. Callie says, we change, we grow, and there is an exquisite blend of effort and happenstance that leads us to where we get to. When someone says they had trauma, my mind always goes to the worst place. It happens when you least expect it. I agree. They do say if you look for it, you won't find it. All comes from finding and living my purpose, the volunteering. That's great. I'd love to learn social skills. And thankfully, with the internet now, we have that. Tidying my room and dieting. Do you know, clearing your bedroom, having a nice clean bedroom and making your bed, and that can make a world of difference. It really can. It's like the bedroom is such a good reset. I'd like to step out of my comfort zone and try new things. And what I'd say is, like, the focus there is stepping out of your comfort zone. It's literally stepping out your comfort zone, like 1 foot out your comfort zone. It's really, really important. Hannah says, this question hits close home today. I reached my breaking point with my bosses today and made a few demands. By the end of the conversation, I was assured I'd get the future I want. Well, amazing. I was going to play the applause sound, but I thought that'd sound too patronising. And there I am doing a golf clap instead. But no, that's amazing, Hannah. Good for you. Good for you. And yeah, empathy is a muscle. It is a muscle for sure. Just do the opposite of what BoJack Horseman says and does. I haven't actually watched BoJack Horseman, I have to say. You're happy with who you are. And that's fantastic. That's fantastic. A sense of contentness is amazing. I'm waiting for spring to get back to walking 3 kilometres every second day. That's great. Step for today, trying to get a good amount of sleep tonight before doing a meditation before going to sleep. That's great. Love the love. Love the love. What steps to get closer? Well, I'm working on my next videos this year. I plan one new one each week. And that's amazing. So, listen. I'm going to wrap it up there. I want to say a huge thank you for tuning in. Despite being away from home, I wanted to get on this laptop. I wanted to do this show and talk about it. As mentioned, next week's going to be an amazing show because I am going to have the new emotes ready. I've even had a new logo made for my channel, which is still being worked on, but I'm kind of excited by it. And I can't wait to show you about this AI and the quiz that we're going to have. It's going to be a really, really fun one next week. I'm really, really excited for it. Make sure that you follow me on my socials because in the meantime, I'll be posting some clues about all of that. And Friday, PSVR about parole. I host every Friday with Brian. And Saturday, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't already. Because on Saturday, I'm going to be live streaming. I think it's going to be Stray. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Thanks for hosting this interesting question. I realise I should do ones like this. Sometimes, I don't know, I feel that I need to do more like stuff that I show on screen. But I realise sometimes just having an engaging conversation like this, and especially when you're so receptive in the chat, it makes this easier because we can just keep going through the process. And yeah, Mark says, looking forward to next Wednesday now. I will get back in my box and hibernate. Enjoy hibernation. Yeah, the sauna suite I'm not going to. I'm going to the bar now, though, for sure. I've still got the rest of this wine to drink. Don't worry, be happy. Shit will happen, but it will really matter. It won't really matter. But will it really matter? Question mark. Yeah, man. I mean, let's not wish the week away. Let's enjoy it. But yeah, great community. I love all of you. And if you haven't hit the like button already, before we finish, please do. Let's get to 30 likes. And yeah, I just want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful week. But even though I'm not at home, we can still leave it for you and your final thoughts. Take care. Have a good one. And adios. Till next time.
Saw you